real. What do we have coming up in a couple of weeks? If you are planning your holiday vacations, your classes around the holidays, just some things to know about our schedule. On Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day, the schedule is as normal. We're simply just closed on Christmas Day. Let's get started in child's pose. Knees super wide, toes come to touch behind you. Bring your forehead down to the mat. Allow yourself to just kind of sink down. Whatever it took to get here, you did it. Whether it's at home, you're on your mat, or you made it into the studio this morning, just kind of erase the whiteboard here. Integrate into yourself. And we'll start to build our breath here. And as you're building, maybe you notice the volume starts to build. Breathe in, fill your lungs, and notice the pause at the very top. And as you exhale, empty completely, notice the pause at the very bottom. Add in that constriction in the back of your throat that starts to create what we call the Ujjayi breath, literally a victorious breath. And you might start to hear from your neighbor's mat the sound of something resembling the ocean waves. Add your sound of your breath to theirs. And so an opportunity here to really just start creating community. The breath not necessarily having to be in sync with your neighbors, but just adding yours to it. So maybe the waves of our individual oceans, rather than crashing into each other, can start to create a momentum, the foundation for our practice here this morning. Last big breath right here. And on your next inhale, come up to a tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and we'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow. On your inhales, the belly drops toward the floor, chest wide open. And on the exhale, pull the pit of your belly in and up. Move with your pace. Adding in those pauses at the top. And then again at the bottom. Notice the whole length of your movement matching with the whole length of each breath. Get the whole spine involved here, from the pelvis all the way to the shoulders. One more here. Really expand the chest on your inhale. Pull the belly button in and up on your exhale. Downward facing dog. Bend one knee and then the other. Wiggle your hips. Whatever movement you need to make to get ready to move. Yes, we're getting all the joints warmed up, all that synovial fluid moving around. That creates that quality of water. So when we start to move into our awakening sequence here, we can just move and go with it. Sync your breath up with your movement here. On your inhale, bring your heels to the ceiling. Exhale, bring them down toward the floor. 2 more like that. Fill and empty. Last one. Fill up. Empty out. Move forward, feet to hands. Halfway lift with a long, flat spine and hold right there. Palms on your thighs. Press in so you're sending the crown of your head past the front of your mat. Yeah, and then conversely, your hips are moving straight toward the back of your mat. Pull the pit of the belly in and up right here. Create stability. Last big breath. Ragdoll. Pull the pit of the belly in even more. Round your shoulders forward. Let your head drop forwards, side to side here. And if the knees need to move, still bending one knee and then the other. Plant your feet into the floor. On your next inhale, roll up all the way from pelvis to crown. Head and arms come up last. Extended mountain, reach for the ceiling. Hands at heart center. Here is your opportunity to decide how you're showing up for the next 90 minutes. Maybe how you want to show up for the rest of your weekend. And we'll seal those big intentions with 3 ohms here. Chant with me, breath in. Extended mountain, fill up and fold, empty out. Halfway lift, long flat spine, step back, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, fill, downward facing dog, empty. Big breath in and empty. 2 more like that together, fill up, empty out. Fill your lungs, blow it out like you mean it. Move feet to hands, halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain, reach up, maybe look up. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Find your pause where your elbows are bent. Up dog, down dog. Nice control. Breath in and out. 2 more. Feel the lift on your inhale. Get prepared on the exhale. Move forward, halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain, look up, go back. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Pause at the bottom. Upward facing, downward facing dog. Big breath in and clear it. All together, 2 more. Fill up, lift your heels, empty out, bend and hover, jump forward, halfway lift. Fold. Extended mountain. Fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Up dog, press the tops of your feet down, downward facing dog. Breath in and empty. 2 more. Last one, fill up, empty out, feet to hands, last sunny, half lift. Fold. Extended mountain, get as tall and long as you can go. Fold, nice back bend, Jen, half lift. Chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog. Breath in and out. 2 more. Lift up, empty out. Hop forward, half lift. Fold. Chair pose, sink down, reach up. Fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Yeah, knees can always go down for these. Up dog, down dog, right side warrior 1. Pause at the top. Come down low in this first lunge. Yeah, find that 90-degree angle. And then just notice, how are my hips showing up here? How are my knees showing up here? Press down through the outer edge of your back foot. Feel the stretch all the way from the pelvis to the top of your chest. Last breath here to get really tall. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side. Step and reach. Pause at the top here. Everyone has such focused drishtis this morning. That's that one spot in front of you that's not moving. Can take the gaze maybe up to the ceiling here and come down again low in your lunge. Lift up, pelvis to crown to fingertips. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in and empty. 2 more and empty. Fill up, expel the air, feet to hands, half lift, fold, chair pose, sit deep, fold, half lift, chaturanga, upward facing, downward facing dog, right side, warrior 1, 1 breath this time, reach for the pause, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog, left side, or just switch the legs. Inhale up, exhale chaturanga. Up dog, downward facing dog. Breath in. 2 more together. Last one. Empty out, feet to hands, half lift, fold, chair pose, look up between your fingertips, fold, halfway lift, chaturanga, pause at the bottom, up dog, downward facing dog, right side, warrior 1, inhale all the way up, chaturanga, exhale all the way to the bottom, up dog, down dog, left side. Reach up, sink down, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Yeah, take a sigh if that's needed. 1 more. Empty. Move forward, half lift. Fold. Chair pose, sink lower. Fold. Half lift. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Down dog. Warrior 1, right side. Shoulders up on your back. Squeeze them together. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Left side or switch. Sink down, lift up. Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Are we getting awake? Perfect. Big breath in. And an exhale. 1 more together. Fill. Empty. Move forward. This is your last sunbeam. Make it count. Half lift. Fold. Chair pose. Fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Up dog. Down dog. Right side warrior 1. Fingertips active. Chaturanga. Up dog, take your gaze up. Down dog, place it at the back of your mat. Step forward, gaze up again. Chaturanga. Yeah, allow that drishti to move just 1 point to the next. We meet in downward facing dog. Beautiful work. Breath in and empty. Lift your right leg up behind you. Press to the back of the room. All the way through your heel. all 5 toes here face down toward the mat. So our hips are even, both hip points facing straight down. Absolutely can take this on your knee. Bend your knee. Stay right here. Press both hands down evenly. Now press even more into your right hand as you increase that stretch from your right armpit all the way to the lifted knee. One more breath. Stay or flip your dog. Nice soft landings. Flip dog can absolutely be accessed from your bottom as well if you want to sit on the floor and then lift up from there. Nice. Let your gaze land softly on something right in front of your eyes, but something specific. One more breath. Both hands down, side plank, right hand down. Ground yourself down here into all 4 corners of your right hand. You might feel here a bit of a lifting that happens. There's a bandha right there in your palm. And the more you press down, you might feel that your armpit hollows out a little bit. Can you get that in your own body right here? Last big breath, chaturanga. Love the shaking already. Up dog, downward facing dog. Breath in. And clear that out. Clear the whiteboard, clear your attitude, clear the, what's happening right now. Lift your left leg up behind you. Again, feel free to take this with your right knee down, leg extended behind. Press into both hands. Now press down even more in your left hand. Breathe into the left side of your rib cage and extend all the way out. Bend your knee and open up. If you're gonna flip over, take your drishti to where you want your foot to land and land softly. Very nice. Bring your toes just a little closer together. Yeah, so feet on 12 o'clock. Send your arm all the way out past the front of your mat, maybe even toward the floor for a wheel. 2 more breaths right here. You've got it. You can do anything for 2 more breaths. Flip over, side plank, left side. Now you know we're going to be here for a few moments, so if there's a knee that needs to come down, set up your support in your foundation, how you need it to occur for you. If the feet are together, separate your heels. Maybe that top leg lifts. Love that. And a couple different variations going on. You got it. Tree pose, or maybe lift just another inch. Both hands down, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing dog. You guys got the breath this morning. Beautiful. Another one in. Exhale it out. Step your right foot forward, crescent lunge. So this time your heel of your back foot is balanced right over top of the ball of your foot. So come down low in your lunge to where your front knee is at 90, and then maybe just look back to see, where is my heel? For a lot of us in the room, it's way back behind the ball of the foot, meaning your legs are longer than you think. You can sink down into your lunge a little bit more. Now press down through the big toe mounds. Lift up, pelvis to crown. Hands to heart center, tip forward, keep the length. Revolve to the right. Option here again to put the left knee down. In some of our bodies, that gives us greater access to the twist. If your hands are at heart center here, press them in. Bring your thumbs closer to your chest to expand your chest and upper back. Breath in to lengthen. Breath out to twist. Back to crescent lunge. Warrior two. Stay low in your front knee. So front knee at 90, toes face directly towards the front of your mat. Nice. Send your tailbone down toward the floor so you'll feel the front of your pelvis lift up toward the sternum. Send your drishti right over top of your front fingertips. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior one, breath to reach to the back, extended side angle. Bring your fingertips all the way down by your right foot. Yeah, great place for a block as well if you need to bring the floor a little bit closer. Now check out that front knee. Are we still stacked right over top of our heel? Yeah, for some of us, that'll mean just making minor adjustments with the back foot. Do what you need to do. On your next inhale, find length through the right side of your body. Now on your next inhale, reach both arms forward like you've got a big beach ball. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in and clear it. Step your left foot forward, crescent lunge. Be intentional here in creating the physical foundation of your pose. That way you can be up to something bigger. So the more stable we are in the bottom half of the body, the more lightness, vitality, and freedom we can find in the top half. Lift both sides of your body up to your ears. And lift your pelvis here. Maybe find that crescent shape between your shoulder blades. Yes, Pam. One more breath. Hands to heart center. Keep the length. Revolve to the left. Keep your integrity here in your right thigh. So press it up toward the ceiling. And you'll feel in your body there how your hips level. If your hands are staying at heart center, press them in. Thumbs come closer to the chest. Use your breath. Find the vinyasa here. Inhales to lengthen your spine. Exhales to twist a little more. One more. Lengthen out. And twist. Crescent lunge up to center. Warrior two. Yeah, use a big exhale here to let yourself settle down. Press your feet down into the mat. So your heels press down, maybe even lift the toes so you feel the arches of your feet lift as you press. Beautiful. Drishtis on that one spot. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior. One big inhale, extended side angle. Low in the hips here. So as close as you can, bring your front thigh parallel to your mat. Beautiful. And reach your fingertips all the way up over your ears. So they're kind of reaching towards the yogi in front of you. Yeah, one more breath here to find length all the way from your back foot. Reach both arms forward. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breath in. Side out. And another. Empty. Move feet to hands. Halfway lift. And fold. Bring your knees to 90 degrees. Your low belly and your chest down on your thighs. So we're reaching straight forward, knees at 90 for a bit of a bear squat here. Here, we're just setting up for our biggest chair. So press your heels down. Press your big toe mounds down. Now on an inhale, lift the top half of your body toward the ceiling. Reach up, look up. Hands to heart center, twist to your right. Yeah, stay low. Take a look at your knees here. See that they're still in one straight line and that you can see your toes. Nice, lengthen out on the inhale, twist it out on the exhale. You've got 4 more breaths. If you want to take this to side crow, bird of paradise, 2 more. Lovely, birds of paradise. Press through your heel. Inhale back to chair, everyone, and fold. Fingers to toes forward, fold. We're going to take our peace fingers, wrap them around our big toes, and simply fold over. You choose here a little micro bend in the knees or maybe a big bend in the knees. I know in my own body, after the chair twist, a big bend doesn't feel relaxing. So go ahead and stretch out the backs of your thighs, your hamstrings, by pressing your heels down and lifting your sit bones all the way to the ceiling. Nice. And if you've tensed up, drop your head here again. Yeah, there you go. Let it hang, maybe shake it around. Release your toes, chair pose. Let's set it up that same way with that bear squat, knees to 90. Reach everything forward, crown of the head forward. And on your inhale, lift the top half of the body. Hands to heart center, twist to your left. Use the breath, lengthen and twist. Keep pressing through your heels. Take this where you want to go. Nice side crow. Press through your heels. You might take your arms wide apart or with a bind. Breathe into the right side of your rib cage to lengthen and twist back to chair and fold. Palms to toes forward fold. So this time we're going to place the backs of our hands onto the mat and simply step onto the palms. Bend the knees a lot to make that happen. Nice. And then here, receive and allow yourself to have the rest again. Drop your head. Let your shoulders round forward. Nice. And then keep the breath present even here. Release your toes. Crow pose. Crow, goddess, another inversion, wherever you want to take this. So goddess squat's always a nice place to start, even if you're going to move into crow. We're just going to come down, place your elbows on the inside of your knees and press out. And then press in towards your elbows. If your ankles have the mobility for your heels to be on the floor here, press them down. And then if you want to go into crow from there, tip it forward. Wherever you are right here, center line focus, pull the pit of the belly in and up. You've got 2 more breaths to play. And versions can start to make their way down. Exhale, move to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog is where we meet. Use the breath to clear out what you don't need. Again, what you don't need is anything that's not physically happening right now. Tune into your body. You're already here. You should be aware or are at least aware of what's going on, kind of how you're feeling. Feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. And then allow that to guide the rest of your practice. You are your own best teacher. Big breath in. Exhale it out. Move feet to hands. Halfway lift. Fold. Eagle pose, right side. Come on up slowly. Wrap your right arm under, right leg over, and have a little seat. So your foot can land anywhere that you need it to land here. Toes can stay on the floor. Or if you'd really like to wrap around that center line a bit more, you could always take the toes and wrap them around your calf. Add in your drishti here, your focus on one specific spot. Yeah, and then sink down a little lower. Nice breath. Keep that present. Switch sides. Left arm under, left leg over. And if the shoulders are feeling a little tight, that arm bind isn't quite there this morning, go ahead and take a big bear hug. Let your hips sink down lower so you can squeeze your thighs together. Everything, arms, thighs, belly, pulling into your center line. Eagle on your right. Right arm under, right leg over. Bring your center of gravity closer to the floor. Sit lower. Press your big toe mound of your standing foot into the floor. And use that grounding down to lift up. Get tall in the top half of your body. Keep that length as you switch sides. Wrap it up, left arm under, left leg over. Sides of your body pull up to your ears. Expand your chest and upper back. And pull the jawbone straight back towards your neck. Beautiful. One more breath. And release. Standing leg raise, right side. Grab for your knee, maybe for a toe. A strap could be helpful if you want to take the foot right out front. Externally rotate to the right. Gaze moves toward the left. Flex your lifted foot. And then that drishti on that one specific spot. Get as tall as you can in your spine. Bring it back to center, airplane, send your foot straight back. So all 5 toes here dialed down toward the floor. Yeah, nice flat hips all across the room. Little tiny bend in your standing knee. It's going to help you find a little bit of lift. So lift your chest, expand it like you would an up dog. Open up half moon. Great place for fingertips to a block on the high setting. And just peeling open that top hip. And you may find, oh, I love that with using the wall. And you may find it helpful to also bring your tips to a block. Last big breath here. Both feet to the mat. Shake it out. What you need to do. And then let's do it on the other side. Near toe, standing leg raise. Flex the lifted foot, then externally rotate to the left. Gaze to the right. Use your felt sense to see what's going on in your hips here. For most of us, we have kind of a propensity to lift that hip that's with the lifted leg way up toward the ceiling. Can you bring that down? Nice adjustments. Yeah, and even if you need to bend that knee a little bit more so the hip comes down, go for it. Bring it back into center, airplane left side. Spread your wings here. Shoulders lift up onto your back. And then spread your fingertips. Get the webbing of your hands involved. Can feel a stretch from one finger to the next. Nice gaze. Keep it present. Open up, half moon. Peel that top hip open. Press through your lifted heels so much that it lifts another few inches. Yeah, the more activation you get in all those leg muscles, the lighter it gets. 2 more breaths. Yeah, when you come out, go right back in and laugh at yourself. Perfect. Both feet to the mat. Love it. Extended mountain at the top. Dancer or standing bow, right side. Bring your knees together and then send your foot straight back. So we want to reach for the inside of the ankle with the soft part of the elbow facing out, thumb up in the air. It's going to give you the best chance to get a big opening in the shoulder. Flex your lifted foot and press it up toward the ceiling. Nice. Switch sides. Dancer on the left. Knees together. Then send your foot straight back. Drishti moving forward. Center of your chest moving forward. 2 more breaths. And release. Switch sides. Dancer on the right here one more time. When we get into the second set of dancers, I'm never sure if it's like a sigh of exasperation or everybody just needs a sigh. Get excited about your dancer. Let's make it big. So press down into the big toe mound of your standing foot. Little bit of bend in the knee. Pull your belly button in towards your spine, front ribs into center. And then switch sides. Let's do it again on the left. Get to your biggest dancer yet. Flex your foot, press it up. Soft but focused gaze. Pull your right shoulder onto your back. Yeah, and then one more breath. This is your biggest dancer. Beautiful, both feet to the mat. Tadasana, mountain pose at the top of your mat. Yeah, take a water or towel asana if you need it. And find your center. Inhale, extended mountain, just a palate cleanser. And then take tree on your right side. Right foot on the inside of your left leg, anywhere you like, from the ankle all the way to the thigh, anywhere except for the inside of the knee. Because what we want to do right here is press everything into center. So your foot is pressing into your leg is pressing into your foot. And from there, you might feel that sensation of kind of everything in the core zipping up, like you're putting on a tight pair of jeans. Choose your arm expression, something that makes you feel big and bold. If you were the yogi on the cover of Yoga Journal this month, what would you make it look like? Yeah. Beautiful. And one more breath right here. Tree pose left side. foot where it wants to go, and it doesn't have to be the same as the other side. It's one of the cool things about being a human is we're really asymmetrical by nature, and sometimes the left leg doesn't want to do what the right leg did, and that's fine. That's why we do yoga. So press down, lift up. Pull your jawbone straight back towards your neck. Shoulders up onto your back. Close your eyes here for these last couple breaths. Just see what happens. Yeah, wiggle, then giggle. Laugh at yourself. That's what we do here. We make weird shapes and we laugh at ourselves, and we have a great time doing it. Release both feet to the mat. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga, step or hop back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, right side triangle. Step your right foot forward. And if it doesn't get exactly where you want it to be, pick it up and put it there. We're going to go ahead and take almost all the flexion out of your front leg, except for a little tiny micro bend in your knee. Yes. And then if you find yourself hyper flexible, like automatically locking it out, lift your front toes. It's going to give a nice reminder to your ligaments and tendons there that that leg needs to be bent. Lift both sides of your body toward the front of your mat. Side facing wide leg forward fold. All of your toes toward the left side of your mat. And have a fold. Yogi's choice here. If there's an inversion that needs to happen to make this part of the practice feel like it's yours, take it. We've got some ninja lunges happening. All sorts of different things going on in the room. Take it to the degree that you need to. And if you're going back and forth for those lunges, see if you can keep your hips low from side to side. Yeah, right where your knees are. Looks real spidery and really cool, but also gives you a great workout for the inner thigh. Inversions, make your way down. Get even in your side to side movement. And on your inhale, rise to stand. Namaste, front facing forward fold. So we're in our little mini warrior one stance. You choose your bind and hinge forward. Tuck your chin in towards your neck here. So your spine can be long all the way to the top of your neck. Love that. And then if you start to feel like your back foot wants to come off the floor, you might want to bring your foot up just a little bit. So bring it up to like here. Love that. And then bring the angle a little bit more forward. Great. And you feel how that kind of evens out your hips a little bit. Twist your triangle. Left arm comes down toward the floor, right arm to a T or toward the ceiling. Press your thoracic spine through your chest. So that place between your shoulder blades, you want to feel it almost like melt forward. Yeah, if that back leg wants to rise for twisting half moon, go for it. One more breath here. Chaturanga or straight back to down dog, your choice. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left side triangle. And take up all the space front to back on your mat here. Lift both sides of your body all the way up to your ears. Yeah, and then as you kind of hinge forward, feel for especially the bottom side, the left side of your body, to be really, really long. So for some of us, that may mean we don't hinge forward quite as much as we think we should. But where you are with your spine long and stretched out, that's where you want to be. That is your triangle. Press the feet down, side facing, wide leg forward fold. I like to take a bind behind my back on this side. You can clasp your hands together and then just allow them to spill forward. A towel or a strap between the hands is always a nice idea to kind of give you a little bit more opening in the shoulders. If there's another inversion here that you need to take, you take that on. Try grabbing both sides of this. Yes. If you're getting upside down here, really press through your heels and pull the front ribs into center. Beautiful. Inversions, make your way down. Get complete in your side to side movement. Come on up to stand, namaste, front facing forward fold. Yeah, or yogi splits, wherever you want to go. Your choice of a bind here, or maybe the fingertips come down to the floor, looks like pyramid pose. And no matter what arm variation you're taking here, lift your shoulders up toward the ceiling. Or if you're in the splits here, retract your shoulders back around your spine. Tuck the chin. And we think about lengthening our spine, that's kind of the last place that we get to. Twist your triangle. Right arm down toward the floor, left arm to a T or toward the ceiling. Yeah, and then notice your hips staying in that one spot. If you need to move the back foot for that to happen, go for it. Last breath. Chaturanga. Step or hop back. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Full breath in. Exhale it out. Roll out to a high plank. Knees can come down to the mat, but make sure they're way back behind your hips. So rather than like a tabletop position here, it's almost like an extended tabletop if you're bringing the knees down. Nice. Yeah, so shoulders are still stacked right over wrists. Pull your belly button in and up. You got it. You could hold a plank for 2 to 3 minutes if that's what we were going to do. If you keep your true north alignment principles in check. So press your feet down. Pull your inner ankles back. Lift the front of your pelvis towards your belly button. Tuck the jawbone back towards your neck. There, you've all got it. Slowly lower down all the way. Yeah, elbows moving back toward the back of your mat. And when you get there, locust pose. Press your hips down. Fingertips reach back towards your heels. And we're finding all the length that we can muster here between your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. That may lift your chest and it may lift your feet, but it doesn't have to. One more breath in. Lower all the way down. Right cheek to the mat. Windshield wiper your feet back and forth. Locust number 2. Back to center. Press down. Lift up. Feel for the areas in your back, all your really cool stabilizer muscles back there that are activated in this pose. And then let go of your glutes. That's not one of the stabilizer muscles we want to use here. Last big breath. Lower to the floor, left cheek down, windshield wiper your feet. Floor bow. Grab for the outer ankles or maybe the inner ankles, your choice. 1 foot, both feet will do 2. So if you want to just do one side at a time, that's perfect. Send your shin back and allow that to lift your chest. And if the foot's a little elusive here, maybe a strap is a great prop to use. One more big breath. And lower down. Let's take the other side here. On your inhale, rise up. Grab for your ankles. Squeeze your knees together. One more breath. Lower down. Bring your ankles together and take a big circle one way, and then the other, kind of massage out the tops of your thighs. Bring your hands to your lowest ribs. Press down, lift up, upward facing dog. Bent elbows at the top. Wide open chest. Downward facing dog. Breath in together and out. Camel pose. Bring your knees down to the mat, and we're going to set ourselves up so our shoulders are on over top of our knees over shoulders over hips, hips over knees, anatomy, right? Lift your chest up toward the ceiling, hands in your imaginary back pockets. And find all the length you can, top to bottom here in this camel. If it feels okay, you can tuck the chin and allow it to slide back. Now on your next inhale, rise up. Sit back on your heels for high hero just a moment. Tuck the toes under, give them a nice little stretch. Be a little rock side to side with the hips. Get the baby toe involved. Camel number 2, come on up to your knees. Hands in your back pockets. On an inhale, lift your chest to the ceiling. Press the heels of your hands here into that bony plate at your low back to retract your shoulders. Beautiful. And then if your hands want to go down to your ankles to make a slightly bigger back bend, go there. But keep your hips stacked right over top of your knees. On an inhale, rise up and out. Sit back on your feet. This time, we'll keep the toes untucked, so the tops of our feet are on the floor. We're going to lift one knee, and then the other, and then maybe both. Just getting a little stretch for the tops of the feet. See what they like. Sometimes my feet love this. Sometimes my feet hate this. Just see what's so today. And then bring your feet all the way around for bridge pose. So flat on your back, knees to the ceiling. We want to stack the heels here directly under the knees. And feet are hips width distance apart. Press down, lift up, bridge pose number 1. Press your shoulders down into the floor and press your heels down into the floor. Yes, so there's your foundation of the pose. Now with that in place, how can you be up to something bigger? Maybe there's more space that can be created all the way from your knees to your shoulders. Big breath. On your exhale, lower down. Take the knees back and forth if they would like that. And then bridge number 2, press down, lift up. And when we get to the top of this bridge, feel for your feet. What are they up to? Bring your toes a little bit closer together. Yeah, we want them parallel. Nice adjustments. One more breath. Lower all the way down. You have got 4 more back bends, and you get to decide what to do with them. So bridge or wheel. If you're going for wheel, set your hands close to your shoulders behind you. Press down, lift up. Yeah, and then check your toes here again at the top. Bring them a little bit closer together. Knees just a little bit closer together. Nice adjustments, Pam and everyone. Last breath. Lower down. Breath in together and out together. Inhale, rise. Bridge or wheel number 2. Yeah, and even if you're not sure if wheel's in your practice, set your hands there and press a little bit. You're in wheel. Yeah, whether you come off the top of your head or not, this is your wheel today. One more breath. Lower down. Nice. Breath in and out. Inhale, rise. Number 3, bridge or wheel. Love this variation with the block between the knees, something to squeeze into. If you don't have a block there, energetically squeeze your knees together so they don't actually move, but just that little bit of pulling into center. Lower down. Here's your last one. Bridge or wheel. You decide where you're going. On an inhale, rise. Nothing in your way of making this your biggest expression of the pose, whatever that looks like for you today. One more breath. Lower down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of your feet together and your knees out wide. One hand on your belly, one hand over your heart. And then attention on the breath. In my practice, the breath always gets a little bit choppy after wheel pose. Reorganize and find all 4 parts of it again. The full inhale, the pause, the full exhale, and the pause. Feel your bottom hand filling up with belly on your inhales, and then empty on your exhale. Dead bug, feet to the ceiling. Grab for the outer edges of your feet or maybe the backs of your thighs here. And let your sacrum fall toward the floor. So that big bony plate behind or at the bottom of your low back, you want that to be resting on the floor. Energetically bring your knees toward your armpits. Feet to the ceiling. Here we are in stability. All that heat, all that length, everything you've created. Now we create the container so you can take it into the rest of your day. Pull your belly button to the floor. All 5 vertebrae of your lumbar spine on the floor. Lower your right leg down halfway. On your exhales, switch. Yeah, so your pace, your breath, switching on the exhales so we can make sure that it counts. On every exhale, you feel your lowest abdominals kind of pull in. That's where the movement's generating from. Keep going for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send your feet up. 60-30 lifts. Exhale, lower them 30 degrees toward the floor. 30 degrees more. Come down to hover 2 inches above. Lift your shoulders. Look at your toes. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take them up. Lower 30. 30 more. Pull the pit of your belly in, lower down to hover. Send them back up. You got one more. Exhale, 30 degrees. 30 degrees more. Down toward the floor, take a look at your toes. Turn on your listening ears. Lift them 30. 30 more. All the way up. Hug your knees. Yeah, love that. Hug your knees. Take them one side to the other, little circles, whatever you need to do. Set up for abdominal twists. Knees stack over your hips. If you're looking for an added challenge, take your knees an inch or two past your hips. And then at your pace, opposite elbow to opposite knee. Yeah, and then challenge your knees to come no closer to your face than that starting point that you had established. Yeah, so low belly turned on this whole time. And if you feel more stable, keeping the legs at center and just moving the top half of your body, go there. And when that gets hard, maybe try keeping the top half of your body still and just moving the lower half. Yeah, you are so strong, stronger than you think. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug your knees. Rock back and forth 3 times, forward and back. And we'll come all the way up to boat pose. Balance on your sit bones, your choice if your heels are on the floor or lifted. Send your chest to the ceiling. Front ribs pull into center. You've got the longest spine you can create here. One more big breath. Hug your knees. Take right side half pigeon. On your back or on your belly, your choice how you create this pose. So on your belly is going to look like taking your right knee to your right wrist with the ankle over towards your left wrist. If you'd like to take this on your back, that looks like a figure 4 shape. You're going to take your right ankle over top of your left thigh, and you get the exact same stretch right here. Keep your right foot flexed, and that's going to help keep any rotation or movement out of your knee joint. Use your proprioception, your felt sense to notice what your back foot's up to here. So what you want is your heel facing up toward the ceiling. Most of us, myself included, get into this pose and then the ankle kind of wants to roll toward the inside. Nice adjustments. On your next inhale, take a little lift and then spill your spine forward on the exhale. Find even more length. Switch sides through a down dog or bringing your leg around, however you want to get there. And then flex the left foot. And then notice your back foot again. All 5 toes facing down toward the mat. We want the top of the foot on the floor as much as possible. Everyone's hip differentiation is a little bit different here. If you're finding that you're really leaning toward the left side here, might be a good idea to take a block and place it underneath your left hip for a little bit of support. It's going to help even out the hips and give you some more space. If you're in the figure 4 here and looking for a bit more, you might take your palm right above your knee and just press out a little bit. So palm on your thigh. Right here, take an inhale and a little lift, and then spill the spine forward on your exhale. Find all the length you can find. Press yourself up and out. Double pigeon. So double pigeons like crisscross applesauce, except for our feet and our knees are stacked. So if you've got a block around, this is a great place to use one. If you've got a knee that's hanging out way up in the air, or maybe a foot that's hanging out way out in the ether, give it some support. Even an option here to take the top leg right out in front. You're still getting the same stretch in your bottom leg. Sit really tall as you can. We're going to take 3 big breaths on this side together. And then switch sides, opposite leg on top. And take a moment to get your props where they need to be. Again, this side is probably going to be completely different than the other one. So decide where you need the blocks or where your legs have to be. Commit your drishti to that one spot, and we'll take 3 breaths on this side together. Unwind your legs, seated single leg extension. So right leg stays extended, left leg comes in kind of like tree pose. Inhale to find all your length on both sides of your body. Exhale, send the center of your chest towards your toes. Big or little bend in that knee, but at least a small bend. Yeah, take your toes all the way to the ceiling. If the knee needs some more support, great place to stick a block underneath. Or sometimes I just like to stick my opposite fist right there under the knee for some support. And then extend this just like we did in the forward fold standing up. So you're going to press your heel down toward the end of your mat and send your sit bone back toward the back of your mat. Switch sides. Left side seated single leg extension. Use your inhale, get long and tall. Exhale, fold forward. Again, take that bend in the knee, at least a little micro bend. And then as you start to settle in here, you may find as you press your heel forward and send your sit bones back that little bend starts to disappear. And that's fine. All we're really looking for is to keep the whole back of the leg engaged. rather than just stretching the back of the knee joint. Let your head drop, let your shoulders round forward. Release your toes, seated forward fold. Your choice if the ankles are together in front or if you want to take your legs wide. Inhale to lift and exhale to fold. Again, little bend in the knees. And a lot of us will find with both legs involved here that we need a bigger bend in the knee than we did on either side. Tuck your jawbone back towards your neck. And now allow your back to round. So you've got that ragdoll C-shaped curve in the spine. As shoulders round forward, maybe the head drops even more. We have this really cool, it's called the superficial back line of fascia that goes all the way from the bottoms of our feet and wraps all the way up the back of the body and lands up at the right between the eyebrows. So if you get enough of a stretch here, you may actually feel that pulling right at your eyebrows. Release your toes, tabletop or reverse plank. Place the palms or the soles of your feet on the floor. Fingertips towards your heels, press down, lift up. One big breath here to stretch the front side of the body. Lower all the way down, fish pose. Take your block, place it between your shoulder blades lengthwise, or maybe you might place your elbows behind you, your choice how you set this up. If you would like a block, your choice. And then allow your shoulders to fall toward the floor. Yeah. Do you mind? Go ahead and lay back. We want it to land right about there. And then we'll put another one here for your head to lay on. Yeah, let your hips sink down into the floor. And then take your awareness to your low back here. We want a long low back. So if you feel any tension or any sort of warmth there, I like to, in this pose, just lift my hips a little bit off the mat, tuck the tailbone under toward the bottom of my mat, and then replace them. So now the bottom of the back is super long. And then notice where your breath is in this pose. For a lot of us in these little back bends, our breath gets stuck here at the top of our chest. Sometimes that can be an anxiety-inducing breath. So see if you can bring your breath all the way down into your belly. And then that kind of breath, our diaphragmatic breath, kind of does the opposite. So it's going to help stimulate the vagus nerve that runs all the way down the front of the body. And what that does is it takes us from our fight or flight response to our rest and digest response. So the more we breathe through our diaphragm, the more chill we feel. Essentially, that's how that works. Couple more big breaths here. Really fill up the belly. And then pull the pit of the belly all the way to the spine on the exhale. Roll to your right side to release your props or your elbows. And let's get upside down. We're gonna get our feet over our hips, maybe your hips over your heart. If you've got a headstand or handstand practice, go ahead, take that on at the front of your mat or find some wall space to play with. Opportunity here for waterfall, which is just laying on your back with your feet all the way up in the air over your hips. You can support that waterfall with a block underneath your hips. Or if you've got a wall nearby and you want to switch around, you could just take legs up the wall. Nice. Those of us in shoulder stand, see about bringing your elbows closer together. And then notice what's happening in your hands. If you can bring your thumbs closer to your other four fingers, that's just a kind of an indicator there that you've got a strong base. Balance your heels above your hips. Yeah, so that's going to take any extra weight or tension that you might feel in the back of the neck or the shoulders and place it over our hips. A stronger part of the body that can just handle that. A few more breaths here, just noticing what it feels like in your body to kind of have the circulation running in the opposite direction. Full inversions, take a few more breaths and then start to make your way down toward a child's pose. Shoulder stands and waterfalls, feel free to take plow if that's where you'd like to go next. That's just your toes coming down toward the floor behind you. If your toes reach the floor, you can let go of that base that you're holding up your hips with and maybe take a bind down by your mat. Love that. And toes here tucked or untucked. Thank you for coming, Megan. Plow to deaf yogi. Bring your knees down around your ears. Let your back really curve here. Yeah, maybe a little squeeze is there between the knees and the ears. Slowly lower all the way out onto your mat. Yeah, like one vertebra at a time. Make it long and luxurious. Now hug your knees into center and drop them off to your right side for a supine twist. Take your arms out long and wide. Gaze to your left. And then using your felt sense here, maybe you can kind of get a sense of what your spine is doing. We want it to be really long. So think of it like wringing out a dish rag, right? So the more we lengthen it before we wring it out, the more water we can get out of it. That's what we want here. Hug your knees into center, take them over to the left. Gaze to your right. Again, here, notice what's going on with your spine. Is there a place that you can lengthen? Bring your knees back to center, Supta Baddha Konasana, soles together, knees wide. This is another one of those places where I like to kind of check and see what my low back's up to, do another little tuck of the pelvis. So if that would feel nice, lift up your hips just a little, send your tailbone down toward the end of your mat, and then replace your hips. Shavasana. Arms out long and wide, legs out long and wide. Allow your breath here to kind of return to a natural pace. You've all got cold eye towels at the top corner of your mat. Feel free to reach for that when you are ready for it. And we'll take 2 clearing breaths here together. So inhale through the nose, fill up, and then empty through your mouth. One more just like that. Use this moment to make any adjustments that you might need. You might snuggle your shoulders up underneath of you. Allow the toes to turn out a little more. Whatever you need to feel completely supported right here. Place your attention on your breath. Nothing to change or fix, simply to notice the depth, the strength, the texture. Use each exhale as an opportunity to settle in a bit deeper. So if you notice that there's a movement that needs to be made, just do it. If there's a sigh that needs to be had, take it. Begin to deepen your breath. Lengthen your inhale and lengthen your exhale. Bring small movements back to your fingers and toes. Circumduct your thumbs 360 degrees. Add a little movement of the wrists and the ankles, maybe the knees and the elbows. And then work your way toward a full body stretch, fingers in one direction, toes in the other. And then hug it all into center. Knees come to forehead. Rock over to your right side for infant's pose. Get comfy and supported. Placing your forehead either down on the floor, on your towel, or maybe on your arm. Give yourself and your body gratitude for showing up, doing the thing. Send gratitude out to the other yogis in the room who showed up to do it with you. And then take a moment to receive that. Press your left hand into the floor to rise to a comfortable seat. Eyes closed or drishti settled right in front of your nose. On an inhale, we'll reach for the ceiling, spine long. Hands to heart center. And we'll end as we began with 3 big ohms together. Chant with me. Inhale. Thumb knuckles come to forehead center. We bow and acknowledge each other. Thank you to each of you for showing up authentically, and in doing so, allowing everyone else to do the same. Namaste. Awesome practice. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Questions, comments, feedback, I'm here for it. If you have questions about the fun stuff we have coming up in the studio, I can answer those or point you in the direction to where